In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I made this bracelet stand. So the first step is deciding what piece of wood you're going to use as your base. Now this can be a piece of wood from anywhere, absolutely anywhere. It can be the hardware store, the wood section of your craft store, or in my case what I did here was I went to my local Habitat for Humanity store and I just grabbed this cabinet drawer and I stood it on its face and decided I was going to turn it into a stand from there. So now that we have the base decided, we're going to decide on the knob placement. And the best way to do this is to lay it on its back and then go grab some of your own bracelets and use them as placeholders to see how many you can fit and the approximate spacing that they need. So I'm seeing here I can fit 4 columns in about 3 rows. And I'm just going to take a marker and mark exactly where I'm going to make holes. Now, of course, it would be most ideal to measure exactly where I'm going to drill holes for these bracelets, but I'm just a freehander. I do everything freehand and I trust my eye, but I wouldn't suggest you do this. I would always encourage people to do it the right way and get a measuring tape. And the next step is really straightforward. We're just taking the drill and a drill bit and we're just going to make holes in all those places that we just marked with the marker. The next thing I'm going to do is paint this black, and after this I'm going to work on these ridges. And I'm just going to take my glue gun and fill these ridges with glue. And I'm doing that because I want to put ribbon on these ridges, and that's what I'm doing right here. And the glue that went down beforehand is just making it so that the ribbon sits really flush on the wood as opposed to letting it just sit on dead empty space. I'm not considering this a step because this is just something I had to do for this specific piece of wood. And the next thing I'm going to do is take some bathroom drawer knobs, a variety of them, and I'm going to put them in the holes that we had screwed earlier. Now, I'm not considering this a step because it's not the permanent time for installing the knobs. I'm just putting them in as placeholders to help give me a visual idea of what the stand is going to look like and what it's going to need along the way as I finish everything. And if you notice, I am putting knobs in every spot except for the last row in the middle 2 columns. And I'm doing that for a very specific reason. So I don't know if I mentioned that I'm making this as a gift for Gina. She spells her name with a J. And I found this letter light early on and I knew I wanted to incorporate it somehow in her gift. And I had the idea that I was going to put it right in the middle of the stand right here. And then I realized that if I was going to use this light, I couldn't put knobs in these 2 middle rows because they would make the bracelets run into the letter light and it would overcrowd the stand. So what I'm going to do instead is take some of these hooks. I got some black ones, so they'll blend in really nicely. And that way I can put this letter up here and I don't have to lose any storage room because she can still use these hooks to hang some bracelets on. So I didn't include this as a step because, again, this is another personal modification for this specific piece. And now for my favorite part, the decorating. I'm going to take this ribbon right here that I found in the sewing section, and ribbon in the sewing section is different from traditional ribbon. This is an iron-on trim crystal. It is meant to be used for embellishing really extravagant clothing pieces, particularly gowns. But I'm not going to let that stop me from using it on whatever I want, which today just so happens to be the very front part of this wood base and the very top of it right here. We're just going to grab the glue gun and simply glue it in those 2 places. Decorating with ribbon is my go-to signature move. Not only because it's fast and easy, but it's so versatile. We have so many different types of ribbon to choose from that we don't have to just rely on fancy ribbon like this one. We can use any type of ribbon. In fact, let me show you another example. We're going to take some regular fabric ribbon right here, and we're just gonna glue it onto the base of this stand right here with a glue gun. And I'm doing this because the black paint that I use to cover this stand is starting to feel too dark and dominant, and I want to brighten this piece up and bring some life back into it. And this ribbon is going to help me do exactly that. And I do want to return to the front of the base to cover the rest of it, but I'm first going to go and finish the sides of the stand, which are still naked. And we are going to do that with my most favorite ribbon of all, metal ribbon. Yeah, it's a thing. I'm going to glue this down on the sides and slightly hammer the edges onto the wood. I don't have enough time to elaborate on how to work with metal ribbon in this video, but if you are interested in learning more about it, look out for my earring holder video where we take a deeper dive. And once we are done with that, we are going to take some furniture corners and we are just going to put them first on these top corners of the stand. They come with their own baby screws, so I'm just going to get a miniature Phillips screwdriver and hand screw them in. Whenever you decorate the edges or trims of things, it's very difficult to get the corners to meet up flush and looking really uniform. And it's just something that I've accepted is inevitable. But if there is something that I can't get to look perfectly, then I'll just hide it. And this is my trick to do that. And now I'm just going to return to this front base part, and I'm just taking that really beautiful ribbon and I'm gluing it right next to the previously glued white ribbon. And after I was done with that, I really wanted to cover the last little bit of black wood that was exposed in the base, but I didn't have enough of this really pretty ribbon, so I just took some plain black ribbon and put it right underneath it. Before we move on to the next step, I couldn't help but notice the sides of my stand were a little bit roughed up. And this probably happened when I was putting the metal ribbon on with the hammer. And there is absolutely no way to fix something like this. So what do you do when you can't fix something, according to me? You just cover it with my tried and true fastest, best, ready savior of all time. That's right, you're probably sick of hearing it now, ribbon. Now let's get back to these knobs. As they are right now, if you didn't have that many bracelets, you could just leave them as they are. But they are not going to hold enough bracelets for my girl Gina. As you can see here, I'm going to put some on. I need to create more space between the knob and the wood so it will hold more bracelets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some spools, and first I'm just going to paint these silver. And once they're dry, we're going to be ready to install them. So I installed the first one already so you can see what we're going to do. You see how this spool is right behind the knob? It's just creating a lot more space for storage. So I'm going to take the knob, and it has this screw length, and I'm just going to put it in through the hole. And I have about 1/4 of that screw left over right here. And now I'm just going to take that little bit of that screw and I'm going to screw it into the hole of the bracelet holder. Now this is not going to be enough to secure the knob completely, but we're going to go in from behind it with some glue at the end. But right now we're just screwing them in. So here's what it looked like after I put spools behind all of the knobs. And just to show you, see how much more room we have now for bracelets because that spool is behind that knob? It just adds a lot of extra space between the wood and the knob, so we have more storage. These knobs I ended up having to change because of the screw length. Can we take a minute to appreciate this ribbon? I mean, it is just sparkling like the gods. Oh my gosh, it's giving me life. So now we are going to flip the bracelet holder over And I'm going to take this wood Elmer's glue and I'm just going to fill glue in all these holes on the back of the stand where all the knobs were put. And I'm just gonna let the glue sit overnight, and now these knobs are going to be super secure and not go anywhere. And it's all finished. Here it is with bracelets on the knobs. I wanted you to see it without the J light first. And see, these hooks are great for stretchy bracelets. And I just wanted you to see it in function, how easy it is to just throw these bracelets on there. It's just so convenient and easy to see what you have, grab it and go, or come home and put it back really quickly. Now see this bottom area right here? I love this so much. You know why? Because it just acts like an extra storage shelf where we can put like chunkier bracelets like the bangles, or maybe wrap bracelets if you don't want to hang those on those hooks. But really, it's any bracelets you want to put down here. You can put anything. There you have it. Now it is all finished. That is a wrap for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll come back next week where we're going to take a plain picture frame and turn it into this beautiful, ornate earring holder.